everybody. Got a knife review for you today, but before we get on to that, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your kind comments and your well wishes on the previous video and in the PMs I've received. It really did mean a lot to hear all those good wishes, and it really underlines what people have been saying in the recent videos, the recent video responses to Funky's competition, about how real friendships and real community do exist on YouTube, and especially amongst the sort of people we hang about with on YouTube. So thank you very much to everybody. Now on to the knife. Okay, so today's knife brings us back into the world of budget knives and also traditional European styles. This is a Portuguese knife. The manufacturer is MAM, filmam, and the model is the Operario. And the name Operario, as you might imagine, translates as worker. So straight away that tells you it's a basic knife. Simple cardboard box, model name printed, company name printed, not much more information, but one of those little QR thingy whatsits where you can scan that and find out more. We have a beech handle with the manufacturer's logo sort of stamped in. It's very neatly done. I wonder if that might be laser cut. And then the blade, drop point or spear point you might say. It's a liner lock, although the liner only comes about 1.5 inches into the body, and to release it you need to, if you're right-handed, you need to pull it into your hand rather than pushing it away with your thumb. The lock is very positive and there's no blade plate. Just run through the specs. Overall the knife's 7¼ inches, which is 184mm. The blade is 3¼ inches, or 83mm, and it's made out of 2mm stainless steel, but I don't actually know what the steel is. Very matte finish, full flat grind with a small terminal edge. It weighs 30 grams, which is barely more than an ounce. Handle's flat-sided, nice big curve on the top and on the end. The bottom surface is flat but with rounded corners. The only flaw in this particular one is where the logo is engraved into the, or etched perhaps, into the blade. It's very shallow on this particular knife. It's not come out too well. For size comparison, I'll show you the other knife from this company that I've reviewed, the Iberica Grand, and as the name suggests, it's a bit bigger. And then also for size comparison we'll do the usual, which is the Victorinox Spartan copy. So when you line it up with the Spartan, you can see in terms of the handle length, this is 4 inches, this is a bit less. So for carrying it closed, it's in the same sort of ballpark as a Victorinox Spartan, but you get a lot more blade. One thing that makes it good as a worker, as its name implies, on this one the blade is what did I say, 2mm thick, whereas we're only 1.5 millimetres on the slightly larger Iberica Grand. However, one possible downside, as you can see with the construction, it's a bit Opinel like. I hope we're doing that the right way. In that the blade sits in a slot in the end of the handle, and there's a riveted collar, and the rivet forms the pivot pin. On the Grand, there is a much bigger collar, so the pivot pin, which is going to be taking the strain, is sat in amongst more wood and in amongst more reinforcing than the worker. So although the blade is heavier, the construction is noticeably less robust. So if you are contemplating using this for anything heavy, that could well be an issue. Although if you're just going to use it as a slicer, I don't see that being a problem at all. This knife costs £9 in sterling, and for £9 I think it's excellent. I do like these simple styles anyway, because they are so simple. It's not too difficult to get the quality there in the construction. You've just got a single slot in the one piece handle, one moving part there, and the collar and pin. How does it cut? Let's have a look. This is the factory edge. I've not done anything with this. That sounded a bit rough. Oh, that's not too bad. So the answer, how does it cut? At best I'd say okay. And when you give it a wiggle and catch the light on the bevel, although the bevel is quite shiny, suggesting it's quite a fine edge, it is, you can see it's very uneven. And I think rather than simply a strop, it's going to need a few passes on 1000 grit stone or 1000 grit paper, and then a strop. But then it costs £9. You can't expect them to spend day in, day out polishing up the edge for that kind of money. It's certainly near enough that it will only take a couple of minutes. And in fact I think I'm going to stop the video there and do just that. Okay, so bring you back. All I've done, I haven't actually stropped it. I've just done 5 strokes on either side on the Falkniven DC4, and then another 5 strokes either side. And in just that amount of work, the sound of the blade on the abrasive went from very scratchy to starting to have that swish where the polish on the surface matches the grit. And now that is pretty much there, even without a strop. And as I say, for my own purposes I will strop it up properly, but just to show you that out of the box, if you get one of these and it's a little bit iffy, 10 strokes either side on a fine stone, and that's sharp enough for most people. So, what's the conclusion? I like it a lot, especially for the money. It's my style, well made. I think it's an elegant design. I do like the slightly heavier blade stock than on the larger, on the Iberica Grand. Although I would have preferred the larger collar. I think the problem with that would be it may throw the proportions of the design out. But for robustness, I think trying to push that a little bit more than just a centimetre may have been worthwhile. So overall, it's highly recommended. If you like budget knives, if you like traditional knives, if you want to get a knife from Portugal and you didn't realise they had a tradition, check out the other video that I did on the Iberica Grand. But overall, that's a cracker. Thanks for watching.